Joining this webinar today for Hayes's inside story of technology for Japan. Really appreciate everybody who's joining this. I can already see quite a few people in the chat. Nice to meet you all. Thank you for joining. So this presentation, probably about 15-20 minutes. I don't want to talk too much. I want to go through a summary of Hayes's inside story of technology material, and also add a few additional insights on top of that. And then maybe we'll have a question and answer session at the end. So that is the agenda. Let me switch over to my slides. Okay, hopefully everyone can see the slides here. If not, I'm sure you can let me know in the chat, please. Cool. Yeah, and I hope everyone's having a good day so far. Just to introduce myself, my name is Ewan Walton. I'm the Senior Manager for Technology Recruitment in Hayes, Japan. 15 years in Japan overall, the past 11 years with Hayes. All of my time in Hayes is technology recruitment. I did about 8 years initially in finance technology recruitment. And in the last 3 years, I've been covering all other areas of technology recruitment outside of finance. I also manage a sub team for cybersecurity, and I'm still actually a hands-on recruiter as well in the area of IT governance, which is covering roles specifically in information security, IT risk and control, IT compliance, and IT audit. So very nice to meet you all. Okay, so what is the inside story? This is a material that Hayes puts together every couple of months where we profile a market sector in Japan. And we try to give, compelling insights and give current trends about what's going on in that area. So we've done these plenty of times before, but it's been a little while since we had one for technology. So, very glad to give you this one on technology for Japan. Inside story, obviously, it's a focus this time on technology and a return to growth in Japan, in particular for the technology industry. We'll come on to it, but obviously the pandemic has been the main thing happening and affecting all recruitment areas in the last year and a half. And, we'll obviously see how that's affected Japan. And, my outlook for this webinar is to give you guys a perspective, whether you're a company that's thinking to hire, you're thinking of hiring in different technology areas, or whether you're a candidate who's thinking about, maybe I need to jump into the market and look for a new position. So, I'm trying to give both perspectives in this presentation. Okay, so for people who have read the material already, or even for people who haven't, this is a quick summary of some of the market conditions that we have right now in Japan for technology. And after this, we'll move on to some of the specific areas that are very active right now for hiring. So a couple of highlights, the Japan economy and the market situation has rebounded reasonably well from the pandemic. Japan is not a high growth GDP market anyway. So, it's not like things fell off a cliff during the pandemic. There was a hit. The economy's kind of come back a little bit. We've had a small drop last quarter in GDP, but again, Japan as an economy, seems to operate very smoothly even when it's low growth GDP. So we've really come out of the worst time of the pandemic, I would say, just after the Olympics, when the state of emergency finished and the case numbers for coronavirus, really dropped down very low in Japan, of course, and specifically in Tokyo. So again, I'm probably telling you things that you already know, but the vaccine rollout has gone reasonably well in Japan. one of the highest percentages for uptake on the vaccine in developed countries, 75% or more right now at the moment. And it's really been helping companies and employees get back to business as usual for their work. And some of that has been getting back into the office. But to be honest, not everyone. Japan really adapted quickly last year to move to work from home, which, it wasn't a standard practice here. So that was a positive development. And now, some companies are getting back into the office a bit more, but some are keeping work from home or moving into a hybrid environment. Okay, probably you're working in a similar situation yourself right now. So during the pandemic, thankfully, technology solutions were available to companies to deal with, some of the effects of the pandemic, especially transitioning employees to work from home or getting more of the business online, e-commerce wise, rather than just bricks and mortar retail stores. There was a lot of solutions that technology could provide to help businesses continue to operate as smoothly as possible during the pandemic. So that obviously helped the hiring situation. Kyodo News has had a survey this year in the last month or two across 111 businesses in Japan, some of the big players, and 90% of these businesses are optimistic on the continued recovery of business and the economic situation in Japan for 2022. So very positive outlook. And again, this is really being shown in the hiring and the demand for positions at the moment. One other factor that I think we're going to see coming in again pretty soon is Japan, because of the low cases of coronavirus right now, able to open up business travel, which is great. But what we're really looking forward to is opening up work visas in Japan. So that will give a bit more access to companies in Japan to hire from overseas talent pools, which, as we'll probably see later, we're in an active market with plenty of technology jobs, but we still have a skill short market specifically in Japan. So being able to hire again from overseas, even if it wasn't previously a big part of companies' plans, it's just going to be a good option to have on the table that companies can look at bringing somebody into Japan or bringing somebody back to Japan who's maybe worked here before. Okay, so moving on, just going to cover three areas that have been particularly hot in terms of hiring. First one we're going to start with is everything cloud, and slipping into a little bit the DevOps and the SRE area. So there's always been a demand for this in the last couple of years. It's continued to grow, and there's been a little bit of acceleration there due to the pandemic, because the cloud solution is something that's really helped businesses adapt to some challenging customer situations. So as it says, companies have adapted quickly to move from in-office to remote work or hybrid. They need their data, they need their applications in the cloud. So it's really been an acceleration of that kind of strategy. And in other cases, it's not been a cloud solution necessarily for internal employees, but it's been cloud solutions that can provide services directly to customers, right? So that's really been driving the cloud activities. Probably, again, preaching to a few people who know these things, but overall, the flexibility and mobility that cloud can offer companies is fantastic. That's why most companies will be transitioning to cloud. And additionally, in Japan, I think from a business continuity planning and disaster recovery point of view, cloud can be a lot safer in terms of recovery if there is fires, flooding, earthquakes, those kind of situations. Again, cloud, if you're rolling out upgrades, put it into the cloud, it will get across to all of your your devices and your technologies, it's a lot quicker. And when you combine deployment in an automated way, it's just a lot easier than doing everything on your internal systems. So yeah, on-site infra, it can still be there to some degree, but when companies are looking at bigger upgrades, it's not necessarily cost effective at the moment. And if you're looking to grow as well, it's more scalable to use a cloud solution. So yeah, if this might just reconfirm your suspicions. If you're thinking to hire roles in cloud and kind of transition to cloud, absolutely, it's the way to go. If you're a candidate with cloud engineering, cloud architecture, DevOps, SRE backgrounds, and you were, hesitant about the hiring market, well, if you didn't already know, there's a lot of jobs out there in this area. So if your technology background is AWS or Google Cloud Solutions or Microsoft Azure, there's going to be plenty of opportunities in the market for people with those technology skill sets. Next, we've got cybersecurity and information security. So this is kind of my main area. I have two colleagues working with me in this area specifically. So again, with transition to work from home, you've got to be careful of data leakage for sure. You've also got to continue to be resistant to external hacking, organized crime, that kind of thing. Cybersecurity and information security is just continued to be really, really important, and that is continuing this year, even through the pandemic and through to next year as well. You just got to have this, because if your company has an issue, leakage or hacking situation, it's going to be in the news. Your business is going to be severely impacted from a business perspective and also from a reputational perspective as well. So it's not a role that companies can really do without right now, in terms of an information security manager, or having a CCERT team, or having cybersecurity engineers, penetration testing specialists, digital forensics people. These are just some of the areas that we're really starting to see a lot of positions for. So yeah, again, companies building CCERT teams, using vendors, using vendor products. It can be a mixture. And we've seen positions across all the areas that I just mentioned: information security manager, chief information security officer, and we're also seeing now more specialist positions in identity and access management, IAM, and additionally the hands-on security engineering and some security consulting positions. Yeah, a lot of activity with system integrator companies and consulting firms, product vendors and specialists in cybersecurity. Plenty of hiring and demand, but also mid-sized and large-sized companies in supply chain, in manufacturing, automotive, e-commerce and retail. They're also hiring these positions internally. So CISA, CCNA, CISSP, certified ethical hacker. These would be maybe some of the certifications that, if you had these, or if you're going to get these, would make you desirable in the market, on top of your hands-on experience. And companies that are looking to hire, those would be some of the certifications that I would recommend looking out for. Okay, moving on to final sector that I just wanted to focus on: big data and data analytics. Again, I don't think I would be surprising anybody by saying this is one of the hot areas right now, and it's been the case last couple of years. And this area was not particularly disrupted in terms of hiring demand through the pandemic, or the worst period of the pandemic last year and early this year. So the reason being, the data that companies generate or gather is just a gold mine of information once we can analyze it. So we could be taking customer data, turning it into insights on these customers, and then developing strategies of how best to approach customers or how best to improve an internal process, or even how best to design a new product. We need to have this visibility on what we want the business to do, which we can only feel confident on if we have the right data. And yeah, that's what companies want to do, gather their data, and then work together through a potential chain of positions that we've seen active hiring for, which includes the data analyst level positions, moving into data science, and then moving into even higher level technical roles in machine learning and full AI as well. So, some companies building that chain, hiring additional positions in those areas, and really trying to maximize the worth of the data that their business is gathering. So again, you probably knew that this was a hot area. If you're thinking to hire in this area, you probably should. If you're a candidate potentially in this area and you've been hesitant on jumping into the market, there's a lot of exciting opportunities out there. Skill sets that we're looking for in terms of the hands-on, there's a few examples here: Power BI, R, SQL, Python, SAS, SAP, Oracle, Oracle OBIEE, Oracle Hyperion, Oracle Essbase, and Tableau. Informatica as well, sorry. So this would be, desirable areas to get into if you're looking to upskill, and again, if you're looking to hire, and these technical skills match the technologies that you have internally, then this is the type of thing you want to see on a candidate's resume, I'm sure. Okay, final section. So again, just want to provide some advice to both clients and candidates in the market, coming from the inside story of IT Material and how the market that we're in right now can really benefit both candidates and clients. So firstly, with clients, be realistic on the roles that you're hiring and the flexibility that you have in terms of the skill set of candidates that you can consider. The reason I'm saying that is we're still in a skill short market. So, not every candidate is going to have every single skill set, every single requirement. There's a lot of hiring out there. If you don't have a bit of flexibility, you're going to lose perfectly good candidates who could take other positions with potentially rival companies to you. So having a little bit more flexibility. If there's junior candidates around, maybe there's something you can do there in terms of training to help you get these young, hungry junior candidates in, and then train them up, even if they don't initially have all of the skill sets that you're looking for. It's a candidate market right now, so candidates would have a lot of options open if they're jumping into the market. So I advise all companies, keep selling your company, keep selling your job. You will have to balance, testing out the candidate for your company whilst also selling to them. The candidate could be a match, but if you haven't maybe done enough selling of your job or your business to the candidate, they could easily get another offer and go somewhere else. And I think, you need to be as competitive as possible on offers. The hiring demand that we see, combined with the slightly less flow of candidates, it means that salaries are kind of going up at the moment. So salary offers need to be competitive. Final thoughts for clients, optimize your recruitment process. It was great to see interviews moving online last year. It was a necessity, but I think it's worth keeping a lot of interviews online for as much of the process as possible, maybe just finishing with face-to-face at the final stage, just to give you that speed in terms of an interview process to compete on candidates with other companies. And don't be in a huge rush to get back in the office. Some candidates are really liking to work at home or having a hybrid situation. So it could be seen as a bit of a disadvantage if your company very rapidly has gone fully back into the office. Keeping some flexibility, I think, will appeal to candidates. Okay, just going on to candidates again, just advice for you guys in the market. Nothing revolutionary here, but some really solid tips. When you're going to apply to a position, I always advise just 5-10 minutes to focus your resume for that position, making sure the most relevant points are clear on the resume and in very visible positions on the resume. It just really helps that stand out to the manager. Of course, your agent is going to be speaking on your behalf, but it really helps if everything is backed up on the resume. The interviews in the last 18 months have mostly been online, but as I said before, maybe some of the interviews are coming back face-to-face a little bit. So, you probably need to be a little bit flexible if that's the case, to start going back to some face-to-face interviews, especially towards the end of a process. That's really going to help you hopefully get to an offer stage. And the final point here is obviously any additional certifications that you can gather will help you a lot with your application. You're going to have skills and experience on your resume, but any additional certifications, it's something we can clearly point to. And that could give you the advantage above any similar candidate who has experience but doesn't quite have the certification. With people working at home maybe a little bit more at the moment, is there a chance to use the time that people are maybe saving on their morning and evening commute to put in some study and have a course that they're working towards and maybe get a certification on that within the next 6 months or year or so? That would be one of my tips and pieces of advice. So again, I'll just leave it there. I'm going to just move on to Q&A session for the last 5 minutes or so. I'm just going to be looking at the chat here and just see if anyone wants to throw out any questions to me regarding either hiring as a company that's doing hiring in technology right now, or somebody who is doing job seeking or thinking to jump into the market as a candidate. If anyone's got questions about this stuff, please let me know, and I will try and give you the best answer that I can. I'm just looking at the chat. I don't see anything at the moment, but I am going to just have a scroll and see if I've missed any previous questions. Let's have a look. Okay. Okay, seeing a lot of comments, which is good. I'm not picking out any particular question at the moment. If you have it, please jump out. Nima is not necessarily a question here about what would I need to do to move to Japan for a job. Ultimately, we'd apply for a position. We'd find a company that's willing to get you the work visa for Japan, and then once a work visa is processed, you'd be able to relocate to Japan for the position. At the moment, as some of you might know, work visas for Japan are on hold. So that is a difficulty at the moment, but we're really hoping that's going to open up. In previous years, we've had some companies that are willing to pay relocation package to help candidates come into Japan. That could be paying for flights, that could be paying for some shipping of your personal items. It could also be helping with a temporary apartment in Japan. We've definitely seen companies do that in the past. At the moment, we don't really know what the situation is going to be when the overseas hiring can start again, whether companies will really be going hard for overseas hiring or whether it will be a little bit more limited. I think if companies really do need a lot of overseas hiring, they might need to offer those kind of packages to relocate people. Otherwise, people might decide not to come to Japan. So we'll have to keep an eye on that situation. Collins is asking, thanks Collins, you're asking about certification in procurement. To be honest, if we're talking about procurement IT, it would depend what role you're looking into. I actually don't have any specific advice on a procurement specific certification, to be honest. But if you were technical, you would obviously like to get certification in either Java, C++, C#, whatever technical skill you needed. If you were in another area like project management, you'd want to look at Prince 2 or Six Sigma, those kind of certifications. Okay, and Nasri is just asking about the job market for people over 40. Do we need to be realistic on salary? I think at the moment the job market is reasonable at most ages. Companies shouldn't really be discriminating on age. Should be judging people on skill set. Salary wise, we should be seeing things going up a little bit because again, there's hiring demand with limited candidate pool. Those are conditions for an increase on salary. However, if you see the right opportunity, the right company, if for some reason the salary is the same as what you're getting right now, or maybe like a little bit less, my advice is just always be flexible because the starting salary, it is temporary. And if you do a good job, your salary is going to increase after annual appraisals. And most positions would also be offering performance bonuses as well. Okay, I'm just going to try and find one more question before we wrap this up. I think we're just coming up to half an hour. Said asking about positions for project managers over 50. Yes, there can be. That can be available. The market in Japan has a mixture of permanent jobs, seishin positions, and then contract positions as well that can be hired on 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year rolling contract basis. So there's usually a lot of variety. In some cases where candidates are maybe getting older, 60 or above, companies might prefer to hire on contract basis rather than a permanent seishin role. But it's a little bit case by case, of course. Okay. Look, I know there's a few things still popping up in the chat. I really appreciate it. I just do want to keep this to half an hour just to keep you on schedule. I'm sure everybody has work today. And basically, I just want to say thank you to everybody for joining. If you haven't picked up the Inside Story of Technology material yet, you can get that from the Hays Japan website, hays.co.jp. We'll get you there. We'll get you the material. And if you are a company that's looking to hire more in technology area right now for Japan, please reach out to me and the Hays team. Additionally, if you're a candidate as well who's looking for opportunities, please reach out to me or people from my team. You can certainly find my profile on LinkedIn if you search my name. And, overall, I just want to say, there has been some tough times, I think, for everybody in their work life for the past 18 months. Maybe some people are still having a tough time due to the pandemic situation, but the outlook has been improving, for most of this year. And we're in a good market right now. 2022 is looking even better. And if you're a technology person or you're looking to hire in technology, my team is 14 recruiters covering the Gaishikei foreign companies in Japan. And we have an additional team in Hays that's covering Nikkei Japanese domestic companies as well. So We're very well connected in the market, and we hope we can help you with your hiring or with finding new positions if you're a candidate. Thank you, everybody. Yes, Miku Tanaka there has put a link to this material. Please have a read if you didn't already, and please reach out if you need anything. Thank you for your time, and I wish everybody a really great rest of the day. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.